Not a new machine, just a bit of a sort of fun video now, because we haven't been buying any machines just lately. And I used to love these sort of machines, as you know. I mean, I love them today, but I used to love them even more back in the 1960s. We used to be fascinated by all these flashing lights. You know, this just really attracted you. And it was surprising how many times the shilling actually came up when just viewing the machine like this. I mean, that was the big win back then in the 1960s. There it is, look, there's the shilling. And I say, this is what attracted you back then. The thought of getting that shilling. And we were fascinated by this years ago. We'll give it one more. There it is again, look. That's twice within. And as I say, we know this happened. But I'm going to reveal now why we had no chance back then. Right, this little devil's the key to it all. It's what we call our little man inside. In all my videos, if you watch, I've always said that there's like numbers on here, 0, 3, 6 and 9. And I've always said if you have it on the ice number 9, it's going to pay out more. But that's not the case. I found out from a friend last week that this little devil is number of loss per cycle. So if you've got it on 9, there's going to be a load of loss. If you go to 6, 3 or 0, that'd be no loss per cycle. There is a 0 there. So I'm now putting it on 3, 6. I'm actually putting it on 9 loss per cycle. Right, for this little experiment, we're actually going to undo these 2 wires here, which will then stop the selector here turning, and I can actually turn it by myself. Right, as you can see, the 2 wires now have been pulled out. So that means the selector will not now turn. So when we switch the machine on, it's going through all its motions, but obviously the selector isn't turning. So that was the experiment for taking those 2 wires out. Okay, as we close the machine up now, you can see we're actually stuck on a 6-penny win, look. So that means to say, if you haven't placed any bets and you're watching this back in the 1960s, the 6pence has actually come up. You think, oh great. So if we place a bet on the 6pence, here you are. Now that should be 6 pennies. But the little man changed it to lost. That little man inside changed it to lost. That's one of the losing cycles per spin. So in the 60s, we'd have seen the 6 come up, but in theory, if we'd have bet the 6, look, the loss would have come up. And that's our little man working overtime inside again. Place bet on the 6. Yeah, it's the loss that's come up. But if you don't place a bet, there you are, 6-penny win. Now here's the big boy. This is the one in the 1960s, look. We'd be stood watching it. No credits in. Yay, the shillings won. Now I'm going to place a bet on that shilling, look. Penny in. On the bell. And again it's reverted it to the lost. Again. Bet placed on the shilling, which would have come up if we hadn't placed a bet. Now you can see what chances we had way back then. Very, very clever, that little man inside. And with no bets placed, the shilling shows. Okay, we have another of those 9 losing positions now. This is our bell again, look. Now isn't this incredible? We're watching the machine. Oh, the bell's won. We'll place a bet on the bell. Bet taken to win bell, £1. It's actually the little man inside has diverted it to the orange this time. So we were really up against it back then. Now how clever is that little man inside? And now with no bets placed, the shilling will actually show itself as a winner, yet it was never available. So I found out we've actually got 2 pins that will pay the 6pence. This is one of them now. This is one of the wins. There's 2 wins that will pay the 6 and only 1 that will pay the 12. This is actually one of the ones that will pay out. If we just shut the machine up, look. That's showing on the lemon. And if we place the bet on the lemon, this is one of the genuine ones. And that would have paid out, you see. Now this is the only position for the 12. You might be able to see I've actually wrote 12 there. Look, there it is. That is the genuine 12 position. So out of every one of them, that is the only position where you will actually get the 12 win. If we just move the light out of the way, close the machine up and switch her on. Now this is our genuine 12. So there's only one position where we could actually achieve this win. The little man inside will not touch us on this one position. Place the bet on the bell. Now our little man won't do anything on this one position. And there it is. Now how amazing is all this information many years later? You know, the technology was that clever I could barely work it out. I'll sort of let all the people that have watched this video try and work it out themselves. But you know, to cut to the chase, there was only one position where the shilling could win. And there was only 2 positions where the actual 6pence, the lemon, could win. If you've got it on sort of 9 losers, then it's probably going to revert to lost every time. But if you've got it on less ones, a shilling or a 6 win, if you've backed it, would probably revert to a tuppenny win. So, you know, it was very clever, our little man inside. We'll let Tony and Rustington work on that one. He's a bit of a brain box at this sort of thing. But that's all. That's cutting to the chase now. As I say, you'd only got 1 position for the 12 and 2 positions for the lemon. But that's why in the 1960s it kept coming up when you weren't on it.